you ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're gonna tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
6:06 a.m. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. It is still desperately and perhaps even miserably cold out there. And not like it used to be, not like the old days. Brian, have you ever had to try and fix a part of your car when it's the coldest day? Not of the year, of the 2 years, which we now know is true.
Yeah, I've had some interesting cars. So, yeah, I've had to do some cold work outside.
Well, you and me both.
Yeah.
And yesterday I was trying to fix a light on a Mazda Protege, and I have a piece here, actually, since I'm in my pocket of my jacket, which I cannot figure out how it goes back on.
Oh, boy.
I think it takes 3 hands, and in a small army of technicians. I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, it was
I used to have this trim that would always fall off of my old Grand Prix, and
oh yeah,
and so yeah, I would be always trying to get the little slots there lined
little
up,
tabs.
And, get it back on, and it looked like a ghetto car because it would always fall off.
It was. Lots to cover on the program today. A unique perspective on conservatism. This is a Fagan and Biegel show. Glen Biegel on air here. I'd love to hear from you. 569-1080. We broadcast on KOAN and KVNT. I look forward to talking to you. We are installing yet a new Congress. It is today. Today is the day the new Congress hits town. And for those of us here in Alaska, it will look a lot like the old Congress. No, we're going to take over the Senate. The Republicans will be taking over the Senate. And Mitch McConnell will still be the majority leader, apparently. And John Boehner will still apparently be the Speaker of the House. Now, you did melt the phone lines yesterday. So congratulations if you got your chance to have fun. I'm suggesting conservatives figure out how to have fun. Are we going to win every battle? Probably not. But should we just get in and scrap it up? I think so. I think that kind of stuff just gives us some joy. So we should be calling Washington as often as we feel like we need to. I'll be covering some of that here today, as well as there are 2 new cops that were shot in New York. And yeah, it is a bummer, Brian. This is not good information. This is not good news, but it is a trend. Arrests plummet 66% in New York as their police try to deal with de Blasio. We should call it de Blasio syndrome, because, the left, of course, they're questioning everything. They question a patriarchal society, and so they have feminism, and they have the sexual revolution. They question the family culture, so they have the drug culture, and there's just a lot of things they're always questioning, always moving. If it's new, it's got to be good. And so this is something that's swirled around for a long period of time. And what they have done is they've taken individual circumstances the police have found themselves in, some of them appropriate, some of them not appropriate. Right? Darren Wilson's dealing with Michael Brown, totally appropriate by all ideals. Eric Garner, if you believe the guy was resisting arrest, then you think that this was fine. I didn't get that. I didn't like the escalation that they used. I think he should have been explained to, we are going to arrest you. Do you understand that? You are being charged with illegally selling cigarettes. Do you understand that? If you do not submit, we will taser you. Do you understand that? Here is the specific code that you have violated. We have witnesses. Okay? That's what I want to see. That's not what I saw in that video. Now, I don't, of course, get to the point that Savage gets to. I think he called it murder. No. The guy wasn't trying to kill him. He was trying to subdue him. Now, the other one, though, by the way, in Illinois, I think is where it was. Did you watch the video of the kid? The police officers pulled up to the kid. This kid's running around with a pellet gun and shoving it in people's faces.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was surprised they didn't run him over.
Yeah, they almost did.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled up so close to him. It's like, why would you, first of all, pull up that close?
Yeah. Well, if there is a murder, by the way, I think the 911 operator may be an accessory.
For not mentioning the toy.
Yeah. Which, that should give you a little bit of pause, right?
I'm just wondering what his parents thought, you know. Why would you send your kid out to play with a gun, waving it around in the street?
Yeah, turned out to be a 12-year-old kid. So the confrontation is very odd. The kid had not, he had threatened people, but he hadn't shot or hurt anyone. The guy calls it into 911, says, look, there's this kid running around. He's got a gun. Looks like it's a toy gun. I don't think it's a real gun. I haven't seen him do anything, but he's just sitting out in the park area. So the police close within 1.5 feet of him at a dead run, right? And with the car. They pull up within 1.5 feet of him. A cop gets out of the car. 1.5 seconds later, the kid's dead. That's how long the confrontation took. That's just not appropriate. Having something that looks like a gun that you have not used doesn't mean, because in the outcome of that scenario is almost certain. Someone's going to die. If the kid does have a gun and he does want to kill somebody, which he hasn't done yet, he's just been waiting for a policeman to come along so he can kill a policeman. What's the likelihood of that? Does that even make any sense to anybody? Well, I guess it makes a little more sense with these 2 NYPD cops shot. Well, we're in a changing world, of course. We're always in a changing world. And liberalism and conservatism and traditionalism and new ageism, and they're always in a battle. And the most important part, of course, you can do is care. And then if you do care enough, well, get out and do something about it. Like hopefully you called down to Washington, D.C. and said, you know what? I don't think Boehner is a good representative of the country. 60% of Republicans want Boehner replaced. I'm surprised 60% of Republicans know who Boehner is. But that's probably good news because we have our eye on the ball. You want to know what my tests are? Actually, when I come back, I'll tell you what my tests are for John Boehner, new Speaker of the House. Mitch McConnell is the new head of the Senate, president of the Senate, and they are getting ready to do battle against Obama. And I'll tell you what my tests are for them as a conservative as to whether or not I think they are a success or could be a success for me. And in some ways, you have to realize that there's this battle inside the Republicans that goes on. And I think the height of the battle right now is between the chamber, the National Chamber of Commerce, and the Tea Party and conservatives, traditional conservatives, who truly do want limited government. They truly do want states to lead. And if there is a healthcare system that a state wants to implement, they should. And the federal government should not implement one. Now, we're far, far away from that, by the way. I mean, you look at Medicaid and Medicare, these are huge programs. So Republicans are sort of whistling in the wind, or Tea Party people. We've got a long road to go. Folks, it's 6:14 a.m. Fagan and Biegel, 569-1080, Glen Biegel on air.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford. With new models pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go.
And because we've got to make room, you can save a lot of money on your next car, truck, or SUV.
Choose from over 1,000 vehicles for just $95 down.
And if you're looking for low payments, we can help with that too.
Don't forget, we have our own finance company. We can finance anyone we want to. Here's a Ford Fusion, just $14,900.
That's all-wheel drive.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $12,900. $14.99.
And that's a 4x4. And test drive this Jeep Liberty 4x4. It's just $15.9. And a Kia Sportage 4x4 for $16.9.
With the 2015s pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go. It's the year-end gotta go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford.
2012 Fusion Q1966, 2010 Escape Q1693, 2012 Liberty Q1910, 2012 Sportage Q2359. Unapproved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Ends 1/8/2015.
At the U.S. Postal Service, we deliver to every address in America.
So when it comes to packages you need to return, for whatever reason,
don't go out of your way to return it.
Because we'll already be there, delivering your mail.
Like we do almost every day.
So it's easy for us to pick up your returns.
Just print a label.
Schedule a free pickup.
leave it for me.
Or me.
And we'll return it for you. For more information, visit usps.com/returns.
Not all talk shows have the best guests, and not all talk shows have a good time. But then again, not all talk shows are Fagan and Biegel.
Get rid of the people who are causing the problem. Democrats.
If I didn't,
That's what we do. We get rid of Fagan. We get rid of Harry Reid. We get rid of Barack Obama. We get rid of Nancy Pelosi. That's how we change it. We don't get rid of the Republicans. Are you freaking kidding me?
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Hot Talk. KOA. To a life. You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
6:17 a.m. 569-1080 KOAN KVNT. That is the station that you're listening to. You can find us. We stream live at danfagan.us, and that is both video and audio. You can find us on the TuneIn app, and once you get to your office, I'm Glen Biegel. I have a unique perspective on conservatism. I hope it's not unique. Liberty, charity, and family. And that is what I think makes the United States unique. This story from The Hill, it's game time for Mitch McConnell and John Boehner. For the first time since 2006, Congress is convening this week under full GOP control, with McConnell from Kentucky reaching the pinnacle of Senate Majority Leader, and Boehner from Ohio poised to win a third term as Speaker with a 54-46 majority. That is a 9-seat pickup. A 9-seat pickup. What an amazing outcome from this last election. Just about everything that could have been won by Republicans was won by Republicans. With a 54-46 majority in the Senate and an expanded majority in the House, Republicans are under pressure to deliver on their promises and move a raft of legislation to President Obama's desk in the first few months of the year. In order to achieve that goal, McConnell and Boehner will need to unify their troops around a shared agenda, a task that will begin in earnest later this month when House and Senate Republicans will hold a joint retreat in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Oh, it'll be sweet, I'm sure. To prepare for what one GOP aide described as the frictions, to prepare for the frictions that will inevitably arise. This is the status of politics, by the way. Well, before I get to that, well, now let me tell you about the status of politics. The Democrats, they range from 0% conservative, somebody like a Biden, he was about the most liberal, or Bernie Sanders, another one. Biegel was about a 3, somewhere between a 3 and a 7% conservative. And I think they have somebody who's like a 9% conservative. That's how tightly allied the Democrats are. Lisa Murkowski is about a 35% conservative. She might trend to a 50 this year to try and get back a little bit more to the middle. And goes all the way to 100% conservative. Or 99. I didn't even know that anybody's 100% conservative. So that's basically what's going on. The Republicans have won, but conservatives are not in control. Not by a long shot. And I think a lot of it is because the media is gravity. The media tells us what we can and can't believe, what it's okay to say, and what it's okay to believe. And that gives the Democrats about a 20 to 25% advantage. The schools, of course, people come out of the schools believing all kinds of things. They don't even understand how important marriage is, just to give you one. And to not understand how important marriage is to a society, obviously, you're not well educated. You have no idea. To not know that people are much happier, they're much more productive. Obviously, children are much better off in a stable marriage, so on and so forth. So we're against the odds. Conservatives are against the odds. The United States of America has always been against the odds. To create one nation under God. I mean, that's just a really weird idea. Who thought that? There was one nation under the king, under the tyrant. Egalite, you got the French model. But life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness were a strange idea at the time. Nobody had really thought, well, how would we set up a free society that chains and binds government and government officials from spending your money and your kids' money and then claiming some kind of holiness for doing that? I mean, what a strange idea. But it's lasted for a long period of time. We are in a new age, a new era. To see whether or not we can keep conservatism going. Is conservatism changing? Yeah, it is. Any time that you have as big of a boulder as the 60 Democrats who voted for Obamacare and this president put into the river of life, you are going to see ripples and effects from that. Now, they implement it in such a strange way, and it's such a horrible law. I mean, the idea that the government is going to fix a system of health care that it's already broken by taking more money from the insured and giving it to other people. It's just a strange idea. It's Democrat central, right? It is where they live. So it's not strange in that sense. Well, what are Republicans going to do about it? Are they actually going to come out and say, well, here's how we think the medical system should run? And if they do that, all right, because the only alternative to what we have right now is market forces. That means people need to pay for what they receive. That's the way we should do things as often as possible. If you're over 65 and you're a millionaire, why the heck am I paying for your health care? Who do you think you are? What kind of a country is that? Where you have poor people who are young, but because they're not over 65, pay for rich people who are older because they're over 65. By the way, the average person over 65 has 5 times the amount of wealth as the average person under 35. And yet, who are we taxing? So, it's a goofy system. How do we get out of it? I'm just glad for this. I'll say this, and then I'll go on to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm glad you called. And I'd like for you to call this program on KOAN, KVNT, Fagan and Biegel in the morning. I'm in here until 7, and it's 6:24 right now, 569-1080. I'm glad you called. These guys need to be put on notice. They can't be let off the hook. We have to keep organizing and keep moving and keep, not yelling, but keep making our point. America voted against Obama and Mark Begich and the other 60 Democrats. They want something different. They don't want a government that's that big. Now, that means you're going to have to step on toes. That means you're going to have some kind of a vision and some kind of an answer. So that's the reality of the situation. 569-1080, 569-1080. Police union wants killing cops treated as a hate crime. I mean, what's your thought on that? Now, conservatives, first of all, it sounds strange as a conservative. There's something wrong with the sentence. What's wrong with that sentence? Killing someone is some kind of a special crime. Yeah, it's called murder. It doesn't need anything else. Murder, it's an evil crime. Okay? Murder is an evil crime, and hate and evil, they're sort of at the same level, right? So the police union wants killing cops treated as a hate crime. This is just, see, the thing that this is something that conservatives don't get. They are not clued into this. They are not clear on this. It's marketing. Yes, I realize the policeman died. If we call it a hate crime, that gives the ability for the media to sort of clarify and quantify it, and then they get special treatment, which they should. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you. See what you have to say. Let me go to Scott. Scott, welcome to KOAN, KBNT.
Good morning, Glenn. Hey, I've always been puzzled about the hate crime thing because the most hateful thing you can do to someone is kill them. And why is one life worth more than others? I mean, if we're all in this equal protection boat, why should taking of one life?
Why would we want to classify, somebody else, and the reason why you killed somebody, because, if you hated their skin color or you hated what job they did or you worked with them, what benefit does that have to society? Doesn't it lessen other kinds of murders?
I totally agree with you. I've always been, against putting classes of people into almost a first-class citizen because a crime is perpetrated against them. I mean, the crimes are bad now. The motivations might differ.
Yeah.
But, the outcome is the same. So,
well, can I just say this, though, on behalf of the people who like hate crimes, which is usually the left? How do you like it now?
Well, they need to quit inciting the hate against the police and against people that don't think like them.
It's a great point, Scott. How does the inner city get the message that they're the most violent places in our country and they need more police activity in order to be able to keep as many people safe as we can? And they actually need to be fairly forceful in the demonstration that, look, we're the police and we keep law and order, and that's the way things are.
Well, I've been reading some articles lately about people of color that have been discovering that carrying a gun for self-defense is probably the safest thing that they could do because the police aren't going to protect them.
Well, the police never get there on time. I don't know if people understand this. Police are there for show for the most part.
Well, they're there to write out the reports and fill the body bags and help assist the attorneys with the prosecutions after the fact. And there are some things. I mean, there's obviously a presence that deters crime. But,
the presence is there, but that doesn't save you. If you're the one individual, you are going to be responsible for yourself. And you're right. A lot of people are finding out. The things that the left told me, that the gun is the evil, is the evil instrument, and that I shouldn't trust that gun. Well, when it's in my hand, and I know a lot of people have been getting assaulted and raped and in some sad cases murdered in inner cities, I'm the one who's got to protect myself. It's a great point, Scott.
Okay, well, have a good day. Glad to hear you on the radio. I like hearing you solo in the mornings. That's good.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Keep doing that?
Yep, I think so.
Good. Well, Dan adds, I think it's a good balance with Dan later and you earlier. So
I appreciate that. Thanks very much.
See you. Bye.
569-1080, 6:29 a.m. Should killing cops be treated as a hate crime, and how does the left like it now? Now that a figure of authority killing them can actually be treated as a hate crime. I don't think that the left is going to like it, and I think that they will freak out. This is reported in Breitbart, by the way, and my guess is it doesn't get much national play. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel, Glen Biegel on air, 629.
Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The two drivers who died in a fiery crash on the Parks Highway within Denali on December 22nd have been identified. 28-year-old Patrick Defoe of Wasilla and 51-year-old Antro Sanguinetti of Anchorage. It took several days for the IDs to be released, but their families had already been notified. Police described the crash as catastrophic. Re-elected Congressman Don Young will miss the first day of the new Congress today. Rep from Alaska has to attend the funeral of his 84-year-old brother in California. Ronnie Musher Brent Sauce of Eureka is celebrating a successful comeback. He won the Gin Gin 200 sled dog race, the state's first distance race of the season. Sunday's victory less than a year after a concussion prevented him from competing in the Yukon Quest and the Iditarod. It's his 35th birthday today. Welcome back, Brent. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Since freezing fog this morning, otherwise clouds and sun for today with a high of 8. And a mainly clear and cold night, low 4, below 0. Partial sunshine tomorrow with a high 13, then partly cloudy skies at night with a low of 8, but temperatures will rise into the middle teens overnight. Then some sun, but turning cloudy Thursday, high 31. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
The Crystal Gallery of Ice is back, and better than ever. This fun and interactive ice carving competition starts Friday, January 9th at 9 a.m. to Sunday, January 11th at 4 p.m. Come to this free downtown event to watch ice carvers from around the world carve blocks of ice into whimsical sculptures in Town Square Park. The sculptures will be on display through the end of February. Returning this year to the Crystal Gallery, Walk of Ice. Tour downtown and visit various ice sculptures in front of downtown businesses. For information and to see where the sculpture is located downtown, visit AnchorageDowntown.org. The Crystal Gallery of Ice is an Anchorage Downtown Partnership production and is brought to you by Alaska Medical Contractors Association, Anchorage Guest House Inn, Linden Transport, United Rentals, MOA Parks and Rec, Alsco, Diamond Parking, Williams Scotsman, the Alaska Railroad, Easy Park, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage. It's not just Dennis Prager. It's Dennis Prager.
Special treat, folks. We have secured Dennis Prager. He will be on the line, live, and in person. Dennis Prager. That's right, uninterrupted. We'll just be having Dennis Prager, one of my favorite guests. In fact, the only place you can ever hear Dennis Prager is on the Dennis Prager Show. So, don't forget, Dennis Prager on the next Dennis Prager Show.
Weekday mornings beginning at 9 on Hot Talk KOAN.
When I grew up, I wanted to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
6:36 a.m. KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080. Broadcast live at danfagan.us, both video and audio streams. I think people could get onto our Google Plus broadcast too. Is that right? If they really wanted to.
Yeah, if they're on Google Plus or Gmail, they can look up Fagan Show and they'll see our page there.
I haven't accepted a lot of friends on Google Plus. Is that?
I don't know if a lot of people are on it necessarily. No. Even though they have Gmail, they haven't switched over to the Google Plus pages. It's a lot like Facebook.
Is it? A lot of conservatives are just freaked out about security and about privacy and all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm going to say something really quiet here so the conservatives don't hear it. I use Google Apps.
Yeah, I mean,
should I be ashamed of that?
If they want to come after me, or if they go to my bank and try to take my money, whatever, there's protections. And
well, there actually is some good information that has come out here recently. Not good information, but good news. The good news is that they have messed finally with the wrong people, and I've talked about this a little bit about our privacy and what it means and what the courts think of it and so on and so forth. And it means some very specific things. But it doesn't mean that the FBI and the CIA can install stuff on your computer. That it does not mean. There's no way and there's no court that's ever found that they can just install something on your computer and, hey, it's just going to be okay, and that's just sort of the way we do things. Now they've got a real big problem. Her name, Cheryl Atkinson. And she was a CBS reporter, I think is where she was from. Yes, a CBS News correspondent, Cheryl Atkinson, has sued the Justice Department over the hacking of her computers, officially accusing the Obama administration of illegal surveillance while she was reporting on administration scandals. Oh, I love this. This is it, folks. You conservatives have been waiting for, I have been waiting for, somebody to actually, literally, abuse someone else's privacy rights, as the courts have always understood it. That's what this is. This is wiretapping without a warrant. This is installing stuff on your computer. This is a total invasion of privacy. Absolute 100% guaranteed total invasion of privacy. And this is going to make a big wave. I do believe. In a series of legal filings that seek $35 million in damages, Atkinson alleges that 3 separate computer forensic exams showed that hackers used sophisticated methods to surreptitiously monitor her work between 2011 and 2013. You want to know what this story would be, by the way, if a Republican was in the White House? The biggest story in history. That's what this story would be. If you want some details on it, and Cheryl Atkinson wrote a book, and Powerline Blog, to me, is the top-notch conservative blog site, just almost required reading. As Amanda Coyne is to Alaska, Powerline Blog is to the rest of the country. It's 3 lawyers out of Minnesota who, they did better reporting on Sarah Palin than our local paper did when she was governor. That's how good these guys are. Anyway, they have interviewed Cheryl Atkinson, read her book, and they really give you the details. In the course of the interview, Atkinson announced important news. She has commenced 2 new legal proceedings against the Obama administration. Is your heart warming here, by the way? My good conservative friends, are you excited about this? This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Somebody has had their 4th Amendment Illegal search and seizure rights violated. Constitutional rights gone. That's what the law is. That's what the law will say, and she is going to take these guys to the mat. They've gone up against a rich person who's got plenty of media attention. They're in trouble. Oh, I'm going to love this. I'm going to love every day of it. I'm going to love every minute of it. Anyway, she has filed 2 new cases. One case filed in federal court in District of Columbia alleges violations of her constitutional rights by unknown federal agents. The second, for the time being, an administrative proceeding asserts claims under Federal Tort Claims Act that the U.S. Department of Justice, the U.S. Postal Service, and unnamed employees and or agents of the federal government, and that she's suing under that. So that is, I think this is going to be a big deal, and I just wanted to bring it to you. Go out to Powerline blog, and you can find links to it. I might try to put some stuff on my Facebook page as well to the stories. But you've been waiting for these to come out, something to come out, and it's not unnecessarily the Non-National Defense Authorization Act or what was the Patriot Act. That's not what she's suing under. So but at least this will give guidelines and some boundaries to all that, and I'm looking forward to making sure that the government knows what its rights are and that we know what ours are too. Less red meat. Guess what? Michelle Obama could be the biggest change in your kid's life of any non-politician, any politician's spouse in history. I mean, honestly, this lady, who can eat whatever she wants, of course. She gets to exercise 3 or 4 hours a day. She doesn't have a lot of responsibilities, and she's a multi-millionaire. Oh, and she's the First Lady of the United States. Who the heck gave her the right? Hey, Democrats, what are you thinking? If a Republican told your kids what they were going to eat, you'd freak out. You know you would. Come on, just be honest with me for 5 seconds. You know you'd freak out. I'd freak out. I don't like this. The thing I like least about it, of course, is the environmental costs. This is the new U.S. Department of Agriculture. This is your government. Is telling us that we need to eat less red meat because of the environmental cost. Is it chilly in here, or is it just me? An ongoing revision of the government's dietary guidelines, which also impacts school lunch and other federal food programs, is expected to call for less meat and more fruits and vegetables. They have outlawed mayonnaise, by the way. Brian, could you live without mayonnaise?
No, or squirrels.
Squirrel.
Squirrels are red meat.
Yeah, the other red meat.
There's a lot of people going to be pretty disappointed.
I'm sure there will be. They may not know. Here's the thing. This is the scary thing about government, is they may not know what they're missing.
Well, in 10 years, they'll turn around and find out it was good for you.
Of course it's good for you.
It cures cancer.
It's delicious. How much better for you can it be than that? When we come back, going to give you some insight here into who is responsible for the government and why. Amanda Coyne has a piece, and I guess The Hill lays out who they think is responsible for the state budget here in the state of Alaska. Love to hear from you. 569-1080. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. It is 6:44 a.m. KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080. 4 a.m. KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Parking space 105A. To many, it's just 130 square feet of publicly allotted tarmac, unless you own a 2014 Mercedes-Benz CLA. With its muscular, seductive look and distinctive diamond block grille, that parking space is transformed into a stage. that showcases to others what groundbreaking style can be. And as you pull away, thanks to the turbocharged inline-4 engine, parking space 105A transforms again, this time into a launching pad. See the world differently. See it in a CLA from Mercedes-Benz, whose vehicles retain their value better than any other premium brand, according to ALG. Get the 2014 CLA 254 Matic starting at just $31,900.
MSRP for a 2014 CLA 254 Matic excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, while availability and actual dealer price may vary. Some equipment described as optional. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
6:47 a.m. KOAN, KVNT. We broadcast or stream live on danfagan.us, both video and audio. You can go out to Google Plus, and you can what would it be called? Would it be called Patch In, or would it be called there's
these Google Hangouts, which is a pretty cool deal, and this is the technology that we're using. So Google Hangouts, we start a hangout every day. We could invite whoever we wanted, but anybody can watch, and it's just live on there every day.
I don't know that you want to see me at this time of the morning.
Well, if you want to wait till later, you can go to YouTube.
Yes.
And look up Fagan Show, and you'll see, all of our clips from all the shows.
So lots of ways to connect with me, in addition to the best way, which we call a telephone. The telephone is wonderful.
And the second best way, which they've already found if they're hearing your voice.
That's right.
The radio.
569-1080, Alaska's Bill Walker under pressure amid oil price crash. I think there are some people who are confused about the relative power and responsibility of the different branches of government. And I learned this back in Tony Knowles' days. But I still think a lot of people are really shocked that the governor has, because they don't want him to, has any responsibility to do anything about the budget. I mean, he just got there after all. So this is the story out of Politico. Alaska's Bill Walker under pressure amid oil price crash. Alaska's new governor Bill Walker, running out of time, has less than 2 months to reveal how Alaska will manage the massive drop in oil prices, which has grown steadily worse in the past month. By the way, it dropped below $50 a barrel. That's what caused the rout. On the stock market, Alaska runs on oil, the article says. Its economy is more dependent on it than that of any other state. With no sales tax or personal income tax, the bulk of state revenue is tied to natural resources. At the same time, the state woefully misread the direction of oil prices. Boy, is this an understatement, predicting they would remain at over $100 a barrel for fiscal 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. They are now below $60. For now, they are counting on $14 billion in rainy day funds, double those of any other state. But rating agency Moody's, Investors Service, financial analysts, and others are worried that this buffer will not be enough. It won't be enough. So here's what you need to know. The legislature employs about 200 people. the governor employs 23,000. The legislature cannot tell the governor what it is that he needs. He has to tell the legislature. Under Knowles, we found out something just shocking and stunning. And call me if you remember this. 569-1080. Knowles, he was in this great and extended battle. This is when Sean Parnell was just a shining example of a great legislator way back when in the 90s. Between 1993 and 1997, we had massive numbers of Republicans in the legislative branches. And what they decided they would do is they would cut $70 million, then this is back when $70 million was real money. Do you remember those days, Brian? $70 million used to be real money.
That's when I could get something.
Yeah, that's when you could actually, that's when a Big Mac, like $1.12.
Yeah, and you can't even buy a good yacht for that much these days.
We call these the good old days, by the way. So I go Big Mac, you go yacht. Now, what does that say about you and me?
You're hungry?
I'm hungry.
I've got some graham crackers in here, so I'm thinking yacht.
I'm gonna hit him up for that. I think it means you dream big. I'm just trying to figure out how to make the budget.
Oh, well, I mean, if I had an extra
70 million, yeah, I guess so. You're thinking. Well, 70 million equals the numbers all okay. I got you. Yacht.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on there and I'm gonna move somewhere.
Yacht comes out the other side
into the ocean.
So they cut 70 million, then 60 million, then 50 million, then 40 million, then 30 million, and so they go through this big process of essentially establishing. Look, we're the bull moose around here, to use Don Young's lingo. We're the bull moose around here. We're in charge. We're running things. You don't count. Now it went on from there. And they kept trying to, essentially the governor was at the mercy of the legislature because they just said, you just have this much money to use. That's the way that the legislature is going to do it this time. But here's what happened a little later. I think this was the year 2000, 1999. Time in office. He said, all right, you cut money out of the parks budget. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shut down Willow Creek. You want to know what it was? It wasn't unique. There was actually two parks at the time that had this one special attribute. There were two parks in the state of Alaska. I think the other one was Denali Park, something like that. That's a national park. I don't remember what the other one was. Maybe something down on the Kenai. These are the two parks that made money, and Governor Knowles shut them down. He didn't even need to employ people to run them. He shuttered them, right? He put a chain across the front of them so people could not go to Willow Creek. The legislature doesn't have the ability to tell the governor how much and what he can spend it on. The governor is the power. The governor has all the power. Now, folks, you elected this governor, and he ran on a platform of fiscal responsibility, and I expect for him to keep his promise. I don't know how he's going to do that. And by the way, I've been told he did not promise anything to Vince Beltrami. Vince Beltrami disliked Parnell enough so that he didn't need anything. Now, I don't know specifically. I mean, I don't know that Vince Beltrami and Bill Walker disagree on much. Right? I think that they both say, okay, well, we should have project labor agreements. We should not have a right to work state. I mean, I'm just guessing on these things because Vince Beltrami would be getting, he's the head of the AFL-CIO, essentially the head of the union infrastructure in Alaska. But it is up to the governor. He has 23,000 employees. He has all the political appointees, and these are people who they're making $120,000, $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year with benefits. So these are the guys whose responsibility it is to figure out how to design a smaller budget. I don't know how much smaller of a budget they want to design or even how much they could design. I mean, how do they know what kind of waste and fraud and abuse, duplication, what kind of old technology they might use, what should be automated? I don't know. I do know that we've never asked or answered questions like we're going to be asked in answering now. So for those of you who are out reading Amanda Coyne, who are a little bit shocked that the governor is the person who has the responsibility to design a smaller government, it is the case. That is the way things work. You should not be shocked by it. We're not trying to be mean here. You elected the governor. The governor is the person with about 95% of the power in the state of Alaska. Yes, it's up for I think the governor proposes a budget, and then the legislature debates the budget, what they want to spend money on, and they interact with all the administrative officials. But it's really up for the governor to say, in order to protect core services, this is how much money I need. I take Bill Walker at his word. Or not his word. I don't know that I give my word on this, but at what he said during his campaign. That he wants a smaller government, that he thinks the government is wasteful, that he thinks Sean Parnell did not do a good job managing the resources and what we should be spending it on. So I take that as a good sign, and that's the way I'm going to keep operating until I hear different. Now, the people that he's put in place, particularly the revenue commissioner, give me a little bit of, I don't know, reticence. I'm a little worried about it. Dermot Cole. You know, I guess this is the way I'm starting to read tea leaves. If Dermot Cole likes it, I'm probably against it. Do you ever do that, Brian? Yeah. I think a lot of people are like that. They look for somebody who is on the other side of the political spectrum, and they trust their instincts to oppose them more than anything else.
Mine's Nancy Pelosi.
That is a really good one, because she is definitely not on the right side of just about anything. So Dermot Cole, who I always actually liked when he was up in Fairbanks, I never really got the sense, but ever since he's been with the Alaska Dispatch News, I haven't so much liked him all that much. So he writes a puff piece on the new revenue commissioner. And it's a puff piece that includes a whole bunch of theological references and references about this person being a pastor. Well, you got to know that something's up when they do that. The revenue commissioner, by the way, under Palin was one of the most damaging people we've ever had. We got a long road to go. I'm excited to be on it with you. And I hope you tune in every day. I hope you call 569-1080. I would love to talk to you in the morning. Just get your day started. Folks, we've got all the opportunity in the world. We live in the greatest country in the world, and we have our health with us. Hopefully, everybody who's listening to us has at least as much health as we can. I'm not as healthy, perfectly healthy, but we've got a great future ahead of us. We just need to grasp it, grab it, and do something with it. 6:58 a.m. Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Glen Biegel here. Dan is up next. Stay tuned, folks. Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Glen Biegel here. Dan is up next. Stay tuned, folks.
Receive your PFD application this year, please consider donating to the Fraternal Order of Alaska State Troopers through Pick, Click, Give. We're the Law Enforcement Museum. We're preserving your history. We're the Safety Bear Reflector Program. We're keeping Alaska's children safe. Help us continue to make a difference with your support through Pick, Click, Give.
Alaska Legal Services
Always choose a locally owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, or Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
KOAN Anchorage. It's not just talk, it's hot talk. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
Hacking is political leadership.
So Florida Rep. Ted Yoho is challenging Boehner, part of a small group of conservatives wanting a new House Speaker in a vote today. What's on the agenda as Republicans take over the House and Senate? Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the Capitol.
The first bill in the new GOP-led Senate approving construction of the Keystone XL pipeline, setting up votes this month.
We will put that on the president's desk, and he's going to have to decide if he's going to side with jobs and the economy and the American workers.
Wyoming Republican Senator John Barrasso says congressional leaders will meet with the president next week. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest is optimistic there is common ground, but adds,
The president's also going to pursue some other things that Republicans may not like that he can do on his own,
including executive actions later this week. Dave.
Jared Jeb Bush will take another step toward running for president, like his dad and brother, filing papers today to form a political action committee that could raise money for the Republican former Florida governor.
It could potentially suck oxygen, meaning cash, away from potential rivals. Plus, a super PAC can act as a real surrogate in these circumstances for a candidate. They can attack and counterattack rivals in ways that a campaign or an actual candidate would prefer not to.
Fox's Carl Cameron. It is snowy from Ohio to New York City. Not a lot of accumulation is expected. They also got some snow in Chicago.
A few little slick spots here and there, but just, keep your speed in check and should be okay.
And it's frigid, 9 degrees there, but it'll get colder. Wind chill warning stretch from Montana to Indiana. It could feel like 50 below zero in some areas tomorrow morning. It'll also be freezing in parts of the south. On Wall Street, more selling this morning. The Dow's down now 50 points. The Nasdaq's off 23 as oil falls now below $49 a barrel. Price of gas down another penny. AAA is regular $2.19. Minnesota is the 8th state with average under 2. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. But with the PMI Advantage from Quicken Loans, you may never have to pay those expensive monthly mortgage insurance premiums again. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I'm excited to tell you that the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. Make the smart call and talk to one of our home loan experts today. More flexibility may save you. 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has loans. And this year, for the first time, they are servicing. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN. Visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing under license law 50 states and Russ number 3030.
The search is on in New York City for whoever shot 2 police officers last night.
The officers Andrew Dosey and Alero Pellerano are both in stable.
From our police and firefighters to our first-line responders, from our schools to our hospitals, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries is here for you. Please be here for us by donating part of your PFD when it matters. Pick, click, give for Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries today.
When you pick, click, give with the Alaska Zoo in mind, you're picking Alaskan animals that have been injured or orphaned in the wild and now have a second chance at life. You're clicking for education for students near and far, and you're giving to everyone who visits and is awed by polar bears swimming and wolves howling.
Pick, click, give is here. It's your chance to start something big. Big Brothers Big Sisters helps children realize their potential and build great futures. We put children on the path to success, strengthening our communities, and we couldn't do any of it without you. Please support Big Brothers Big Sisters today and pick, click, give.
The Alaskan defender of family, firearms, and the freedom of speech, Eddie Burke.
I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care what goes on in your private life. The only thing I care about is how you're going to vote, because that's the only thing that affects me.
Eddie Burke and Friends on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve. which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Here's my good friend, Keith Montronock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080 KO.
Many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and
You have the picture?
Broadcasters Association and this local station.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.
Well, good morning. And welcome. It is Tuesday morning. Yeah, Tuesday morning, January 6th. Dan Fagan here. KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live on danfagan.us. And you can call us. Our phone number, 569-1080. 569-1080. And you can also email me, danfaganshow@icloud.com. danfaganshow@icloud.com. Good morning to you. It is, as we would say back home when it got down into the 30s, butt-ass cold. That's what we would say, Brian. And it is butt-ass cold. I don't know, what is it? Let me look here. Let me go to my fancy iPhone and see exactly what. Well, I got a call from Glen Biegel. Look at that. All right, let's see. 3 is the number of the temperature. 3 is not a very big number. You look at it, a guy who grew up in a place that it rarely got below 75 in the summer. Oh no, it's 1. It updated itself. 1.
That's all.
1 is much lower than 75. Now, normally in the summer it'd be about 80, 90, 93, 94 degrees, and now it's 1. So it's a different deal, but you can get used to it. Heaters are important. Wearing a fleece vest with sleeves, very important. You don't want to get a jacket. That's a little extreme, but I'm ready to go. Good morning to you. Just kind of getting my way and sitting in the chair and getting all my bearings straight. Big vote in the House today. John Boehner, who cries a lot. He's a very sensitive fellow, and he's orange, which is unusual. Very unusual to have a politician that cries a lot and is orange. And I'm not, I don't obviously don't know the fellow, never met him, but I do think that he would be. It would be a good thing for the country if he were replaced. He's got too much compromise in him for me. That's my view. I'd like to see someone with a little more Ted Cruz-iness to them, or someone with a little backbone and a little bit less. Let's get along. A little bit more. Let's stand up and fight. Don Young, our congressman, will not participate in the vote. And it's for a good reason. His brother died just the last couple of days, and he's attending the funeral. That's certainly understandable. We hope the Young family is grieving and having a good time together to get together and mourn the loss of their family member. So you can't really hold Mr. Young accountable for that. It is a big vote, though, for the country. I don't think there's much of a chance Boehner will be removed, everything I'm reading, but you just never know. People are so tired of this administration, this president, and the complete havoc he's wreaked on our nation and our laws and our economy and our standing globally. And there's so many things that he's done that are going to take many years to repair. And I think the country's hungry for someone to stand up to this guy and not roll over as he is lawless on just about every turn. So you never know. You never know. I know, look, we saw it with Mark Begich kissing up to Harry Reid, and of course he ended up losing his seat as a result of it. I'm sure once you get inside the Beltway and you want to move up the ranks and become more relevant nationally, a big part of that is kissing up to the leadership, be it on the Democratic side or the Republican side. So it comes with great risk to stand up to the Speaker of the House, who's been the Speaker of the House for 3 terms now. But you also face a backlash from your constituents back home, because if you do face a challenger who's more conservative than you are, and all your challenger has to do is say, well, so-and-so voted to reinstate John Boehner, and John Boehner's clearly no conservative. John Boehner, I remember I was in Redding, California, doing my show down there, and I was listening to the radio, and the news came on, and there was a quote by John Boehner, and he said, for some of these guys, you just can't be conservative enough. And I thought, well, that's pretty revealing, isn't it? That's pretty telling. Yeah, you get along to go along. It's kind of the way Washington is, I think. And Mr. Boehner, obviously, I suppose being one of the few orange Americans, had to. I guess I would make him a minority, right? We don't have a lot of orange Americans, so it's kind of thing where he has to, maybe be more accommodating, seeing that he is orange. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This president has to be stopped. Look, here's my thought on the national deal. I would like to see the Republican leadership put out a bill every day that the president will veto, but it will clearly define him for the American people. The McKenzie pipeline, tax reform, doing away with capital gains, enabling trade, immigration reform. I'm talking about real reform, seal the borders, this kind of stuff. And just one bill after another, let Mr. Obama veto every one of them. And the American people will get a sense of what a radically different direction this country would turn if it were not for a Democrat running the White House. Let's define this party. In the 2 years we have, I don't care if the bills are going to pass. The American people need to know that this party is an anti-free market party, the Democratic Party. It's anti-competition. It's anti-freedom. It's pro-death culture. Let's put some abortion regulations in there. Let's load it up, man, and let Mr. Obama veto. Because we need to define this guy, and I don't care how much the media slobbers over our current president. It's hard to cover up the veto of a pipeline that will create 10,000 jobs and lower energy costs for this nation. It's hard for the media to spin that in a positive direction for Mr. Obama. So let's load him up. Let's start passing bills and let the American people see firsthand who this guy is and what he stands for. And what he stands for is not going to be very appealing for the American people. I can promise you that. Will that happen under Boehner? I don't know. I would hope so. 569-1080, Dan Fagan here. Dan Fagan Show at iCloud.com. That's how you email me. I'd like to hear from you this morning. 569-1080. 569-1080. Time currently 7:15. 569-1080. 569-1080. Time currently 7:15.
KOAN.
It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford. With new models pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go.
And because we've got to make room, you can save a lot of money on your next car, truck, or SUV.
Choose from over 1,000 vehicles for just $95 down.
And if you're looking for low payments, we can help with that too.
Don't forget, we have our own finance company. We can finance anyone we want to. Here's a Ford Fusion, just $14,900.
That's all-wheel drive.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $12,900.
And that's a 4x4. And test drive this Jeep Liberty 4x4. It's just $15,900. And a Kia Sportage 4x4 for $16,900.
With the 2015s pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go. It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford.
2012 Fusion Q1966, 2010 Escape Q1693, 2012 Liberty Q1910, 2012 Sportage Q2359. Unapproved credit, subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Ends 1/8/2015.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080.
Big Brothers Big Sisters helps children realize their potential and build great futures. We put children on the path to success, strengthening our communities, and we couldn't do any of it without you. Please support Big Brothers Big Sisters today and pick, click, give.
Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk.
All right, welcome, Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. We are streaming live on Dan Fagan's show. Oh, no, I'm sorry, danfagan.us. And we're on KOAN, KVNT. Also, we are on 95.1 FM in Anchorage, 1080 AM in Anchorage, 1020 AM in the Valley, and then 92.5 FM in the Valley. Amanda Coyne has given Kevin Meyer some guff about hiring McHugh Pierre on a personal services contract starting on the 15th. You remember McHugh Pierre, who I should tell you is a former student of mine when I taught journalism out at UAA. He was a very bright student. I don't know him that well, but I can vouch for his academic prowess. McHugh, you remember during the National Guard scandal, tried to get a couple of the whistleblowers to sign a document that they would stop talking about all this. We never did really find out if that was McHugh's idea or if that was a directive he was just following orders. But it was clearly not a good move. And Amanda is making the case that, well, A, we shouldn't be hiring new people during this budget crisis. And then B, there's probably going to be a special investigative or a special prosecutor to look into the National Guard scandal, although I've been told by 2 different sources who are currently in the legislature and in the majority that they are not going to hold special hearings on the National Guard scandal. They are not going to. And they are not going to appoint a special prosecutor either. So I guess Amanda hadn't gotten word on that yet, but
The idea that, of course, the Republican leadership did send Bill Walker a letter recently to enact a hiring freeze because we're facing unprecedented fiscal crisis, was what the letter said. And, of course, here they're going to hire Pierre and creating this new position for him, although it's not a new position. The thing about it, when you hire a state worker, you own them till they die. That's the thing that you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that state employees, when you put them on the payroll, they are yours for life. You will take care of them health-wise, pension. You got yourself a friend for life when you hire a state worker. Now, McHugh is a contractor. So after the session, that's it. He's done. Wouldn't that be great if every state employee were a contractor? We're seeing that now, especially with Obamacare. There's the fastest growth of contract workers in the nation happened in 2014. And I don't remember the percentage. But with all the having an employee, the government, they're just making it so hard to have a full-time employee anymore. And so many businesses are hiring people because of Obamacare to work less than 30 hours or whatever the threshold is where you got to kick in all the health care and benefits. If you hire an employee today, you got to pay workers' comp, unemployment insurance, health care. It's just undoable. And we will eventually, as the government continues to interfere with the business world and the free market, we will eventually become a nation of contractors. One thing you got to understand about the left, they always, whatever they intend to do, the complete opposite happens every time, without exception. They want minimum wage people. They want to help them. What do? They raise the minimum wage. What happens to minimum wage people? A bunch of them lose their jobs. Whenever the left tries to do something positive, it's always the complete opposite of what happens, of what they intend. Every single stinking time. No exception. Because the left is always basing everything they do on the complete opposite of what's true. Because what they believe is true is the complete opposite of what's true. Their worldview is always 180 degrees of what is true. So when you operate believing what is the complete opposite of true, then you are going to end up doing the complete opposite of what you thought you were going to do by helping people. Now, I don't know, this McHugh Pierre. The reason they're hiring him is because he's supposed to help promote our priorities. This is Kevin Meyer now. Promote our priorities, our goals, and our individual efforts and leadership on behalf of Alaskans. Now, they've already got a majority PR person, both the House and the Senate. They've always got a full-time employee who does nothing but promote the agenda of the legislature, either the House majority or the Senate majority, and the minority has the same too. They each have a full-time PR person. My time as a reporter, and with all due respect to all those press people that I dealt with, there's really one that knew what they were doing. It was Jordan Marshall, who was the spokesperson for the minority in the Senate. Actually, I think he had both the House and the Senate. He was press spokesperson for both of them, and he was absolutely amazing. Just the most incredible, impressive press person I ever met. He would come to me when I covered the legislature down there. He was in my office every day. Hey, Dan, did you hear what happened here? Dan, did you see how this happened? What do you think of this, Dan? Every day. And I was reporting for Channel 2, which is the #1 news organization in the state. And many of the stories that he pimped me ended up getting on the air solely because he had the intelligence to work me. And that's what press secretaries are supposed to do. I've known press secretaries who don't even return calls. Can you imagine that? So I would say that, and this is true in Louisiana and Texas, everywhere I've worked, the vast majority of people that I've worked who were PR on behalf of the government were not worth their weight in feathers. They honestly just had no clue. Jordan Marshall being really the one example that I can think of. So I don't know. Do we need to go hire a guy to be an additional press secretary? I would say that probably Kevin Myers should have realized that the media is out to get him. He can do no right. The unity ticket is chic. The unity ticket will be protected at all costs. And they need to be really wise, the Republican Party does. And to hire a guy who's really at the heart of the National Guard scandal, he really was. That saying to the whistleblowers, you must sign this confidentiality agreement, or it was really a gag order more than a confidentiality agreement. It was a stop talking about this. And again, whether it was McHugh Pierre's idea or whether he was told to do that by his supervisor, or who knows, the governor, who knows. He's really one of the key figures in the National Guard scandal. You gotta be careful. You just gotta be. Look, we're in a war. We're in a war in which the referees are going to call penalties on us that they won't call on the other side. So you can complain about it, or you can work better and smarter and harder to overcome it. That in the political arena, in Alaska and just about everywhere else, the referees, which are the media, are typically going to call things on Republicans that they would never dream of calling on Democrats. And as leadership in the Republican Party has to be fully aware of that, fully cognizant of that, and to take one of the most controversial figures in the National Guard scandal and make him your spokesperson. And then just add a new position on top of that when you just sent a letter to the governor saying, hey, how about a hiring freeze, Governor? I mean, are you getting the picture here? The Republican majority sent the governor and said, we need a hiring freeze. And then 2 weeks later, they go out and hire and create a new position and give it to the most controversial person in the National Guard scandal. Hello, McFly. I'm not saying McHugh Pierre's a bad guy. Not at all. I think he's a great guy. My experiences with him, he's just wonderful. Has a wonderful family. He's just a wonderful fellow. But you got to understand, they're gunning for you, folks. Mr. Meyer, Mr. Chenault, Miss Millette, Charlie Huggins, they're gunning for you. And they're going to, if you drop a third of a banana peel, they're going to make it look like you dropped a whole bag full of trash. They're gunning for you, so you have to be very wise. Now, that's different than being afraid. Don't operate in fear, thinking, what will the media do to me if I do this? No, stand up for your principles. But creating a new position 2 weeks after you sent a letter to the governor asking him to enact a hiring freeze, that is seriously void of any wisdom. And that's the kind of thing the media will slam you for in a most ferocious way. 569-1080, 569-1080. Fagan Biegel in the morning. Broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming on danfagan.us. We are happy you found us. Happy you're here. It's a very chilly morning. Dress up before you leave the house. Put yourself a hat on. Maybe some gloves. Possibly some long underwear. Grab yourself a hot beverage before you leave the house. Not adult beverage. It's too early for that. You shouldn't be driving either. 7:29.
And now.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
For Supply Management's non-manufacturing index fell more than 3 points from November to a 6-month low. In a separate report, factory orders dropped 0.7% in November, coming in worse than expected. Manufacturing is cooling off after strong growth in the third quarter, due in part to a sluggish global economy. And there's news in the shoe business. Coach is attracting buyers today. The company is buying Stuart Weitzman, an upscale shoe company, from private equity firm Sycamore Partners for up to $574 million. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
Okay, our daily deal is the free teeth whitening kit again. If you want your teeth professionally whitened but haven't had the money, listen up. National Dental Supply is giving a free whitening kit to the first 50 listeners who call 800-454-2816. It's the same strength sold by dentists. Get a white smile to look young and healthy. Call right now before the 50 free kits reserved for our listeners are gone. 800-454-2816. 800-454-2816. 800-454-2816.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Two major transit providers in Matsu reportedly considering joining forces. And Kenda explains.
Pink Valley Mover, which transports ferry commuters between the valley and Anchorage, and the Matsu community transit shuttles that provide transportation within the borough, may become one. They're in talks about reducing duplication and saving on expenses by phasing in a merger in July 2015, with full implementation by July 2016.
Alaska's new U.S. Senator swears in today. Dan Sullivan, a Republican who defeated incumbent Democrat Mark Begich in November. Finally, there's already some big news about Christmas 2015. The U.S. Forest Service has announced an evergreen tree from Chugach National Forest will serve as the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree. It will be the first time a tree from Alaska has had the honor. At your Hot Talk News update, local weather is next.
Glen's freezing fog this morning, otherwise clouds and sun for today with a high of 8 and a mainly clear and cold night, low 4, below 0. Partial sunshine tomorrow with a high 13, then partly cloudy skies at night with a low of 8, but temperatures will rise into the middle teens overnight, then some sun, but turning cloudy Thursday, high 31. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Thanks for listening to this.
Alsco American Linen reminds you that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Feeding America reports that there are nearly 13 million U.S. children living in poverty, and the weak link that represents America's poor knows no ethnic boundaries. Over 40% of food bank recipients are white, 38% are black, and 17% are Latino or Hispanic. Also, there are over 52 million working poor in this country, people who work full-time jobs but can't meet basic expenses. Helping those in need only strengthens the chain of American society. Alsco American Linen says this holiday season, please give wisely, give generously, and give food, clothing, time, or money. Together, we can make the holidays a little more special for everyone. This total broadcasting message is from Alsco American Linen. They've been a leader in the linen supply industry since 1889 and a fixture in Anchorage for more than 20 years. That's Alsco American Linen on West Fireweed in Anchorage.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
I thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on.
We all start out small, and we can all grow up to achieve big things. Alaska Children's Trust encourages you to take small steps that can make a big difference. Pick, click, give to Alaska Children's Trust and help kids grow up safe and healthy so they can realize their biggest dreams. Start small, dream big. Pick, click, give to Alaska Children's Trust.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley.
Well, good morning to you. Dan Fagan here. Fagan Biegel in the morning on KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live, danfagan.us. Email me, danfaganshow@icloud.com. Our good friend Keith Montanak over at Specialty Truck and Auto. He's a good guy, and he's a good mechanic. He's an excellent mechanic, and his team that works with him, they're all the very best in the state when it comes to car, truck, SUV repair. They even work on motorhomes. They're very talented. And people have come to trust the folks at Specialty Truck and Auto for many, many years. You should too. If you need a good mechanic and you need to get your vehicle worked on, you can do it with peace of mind by taking it to Specialty Truck and Auto, Keith Montanak, right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. Here's his number to make an appointment. Tell him that you heard me telling him to call you, and he will treat you right. 349-1637. 349-1637. Again, the number. 349-1637. Well, let's go down to sunny, warm South Carolina, where our very good friend David Boyle with the Alaska Policy Forum is vacationing, and he's kind enough to take some valuable time out of his vacation to call into us this morning. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Dan. How you all doing today?
You don't have to talk. You don't have to talk South Carolinian.
Well,
we'd have to interpret it.
Yeah, I went to actually visited Fort Sumter yesterday. You know, actually where the first shots were heard during the U.S. Civil War, or war between the states. I apologize.
Yes, yes.
And
what's the weather like?
Oh, it actually is about 30 and it's sunny.
Oh, that's chilly.
Yeah, it is, but I'm inside, so I'm not going to be worried. Actually, sit by the pool drinking a little mint julep.
Really? 30 degrees. Okay.
Yeah, 30 degrees.
What do you got family down there?
No. I have no family in South Carolina.
Well, what are you doing down there?
I got out of Alaska because I knew that serious cold front was coming through.
Oh, so do you have like a winter home there?
No. I'm visiting a former neighbor down here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't mean to get too nosy.
You finally pulled it out of me. You're a better investigative reporter than that. Yeah, so I'm just visiting down here, taking a little time off, a little respite after this fall.
Oh, good for you, man.
But I shall return.
And of course, you're with the Alaska Policy Forum. And for those who don't know what the Alaska Policy Forum, it's first of all, it's an organization that the Alaska Dispatch News loathes. It's the complete opposite of what Vince Beltrami tries to do. You're a free market organization, and I think it's just such a valuable thing to have here in the state of Alaska. Now, go ahead.
We hope we're doing some good as long as we get attacked by a lot of bloggers and a lot of people from the Alaska mudflats.
There you
go. Then we think we're probably doing okay. And I think we've got a larger audience now that we actually, when we put out the municipal payroll last August.
Huge.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Vince Beltrami, because the Alaska Dispatch, they're not going to really report accurately on the obscene salaries government employees get with benefits. And he must just absolutely hate you guys.
Well, I don't know. I hate to use that.
Hate's a little strong. Annoyed. Annoyed.
Yeah, Pat Higgins might use the term hate, as he called us hateful in the article that the ADN did on us. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I think I remember that now.
Yeah, and it's hateful for publishing people's names with salaries. And
right.
My comment to Mr. Higgins is, the Alaska Supreme Court in 1999 said that yes, they have a right. Have a right to. Actually, the ADN at that time has a right to publish public employee salaries with their names.
Well, it's the only way you get the picture of how the unions have so much power in the state. And Vince Beltrami, who's the head of the AFL-CIO, always describes himself as someone who's fighting for working families.
Yeah.
And what he's talking about is the government employees making six figures. And
well, Vince is only making $185,000.
I don't know how he does that. I don't know how.
And that doesn't include his benefits. And hey, more power to you, Vince, for doing that. But I think seeing that we are the employers, everybody in the state and in the community of Anchorage, for example, are the employers of these folks. We should know what our employees are getting paid, if they're getting paid enough, and what value we are getting for those services.
Absolutely.
And we have great employees, and we need public services.
Yes.
But on the other hand, we should know how they are being compensated and what they are costing us.
David, and we're talking to David Boyle with the Alaska Policy Forum. What is the House Sustainable Education Task Force? How did that start? What's it doing? I know they just had a meeting last week.
Mm-hmm.
Describe it and set it up for the beginning, for those who don't know what the task force is all about.
Well, the task force was set up as a result of the legislature in the previous session in 2013. They were trying to put all of these pieces together about education funding in Alaska. What are we paying, and how much is it costing us, and what are we getting for this? And it was interesting because nobody really had a handle on it, because, with this thing called the foundation formula, it gets kept increasing every year and every year with very little accountability, let's say. So the House put together this task force to study, and they also said, you know what, we can't afford, interestingly enough, they had some foresight. We can't afford to continue to do this and fund education in this manner because we're going to bust the state. And that was in the spring of 2013, before this oil plummeting.
Yeah.
Price is plummeting. But so they had some foresight. And by the way, K-12 education, Medicaid, and the retirement program, PERS-TERS, eats up most of the operating budget in Alaska.
Of the education budget.
Well, of the operating budget.
The operating budget generally. Give me the three again.
That's K-12 education.
Right.
Medicaid.
Yes.
And not with the expansion, and also the PERS and TERS public employee retirement.
And what percentage of the operating budget approximately does that consume?
Ooh, that's a good question, and I don't have it right in my hand.
Pretty high, though.
Well, if we continue on our current spending levels for all of those three programs, then, and this is from Legislative Finance Director David Teal, if we continue on our way to and just stay on that funding level, then by 2023, we will have exhausted all the budget reserves, the entire permanent fund, and those three items will eat up the entire operating and capital budget.
So that's how out of control the spending is with those three.
Yes, and as you know, you can't control spending in Medicaid.
No.
It's a 50-50 split with the federal government, and our split, I don't want to get off a little bit, but our cost is about $820 million right now.
All right, hold on, Dave. We're going to take a quick break. Come back with David Boyle, Alaska Policy Forum, education spending. Wait till you hear what you're about to hear about what this task force is all about. 744, Dan Fagan. About what this task force is all about. 744, Dan Fagan.
With Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 669-1080 KOAN.
The highway, a strip of asphalt to carry you between points A and B. But in an all-new 2015 Mercedes-Benz GLA, there is no point B. Because when you're driving a GLA from Mercedes-Benz, you're not concerned with the destination, only the adventure. With off-road transmission mode and a sleek design, this SUV performs with confident style on any terrain. And no matter where your adventure takes you, the all-new GLA's sporty, expressive styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Make your dollar stretch with Sicily's first ever BOGO special. Buy one, get one half price. Save 50% off pizza, calzone, pasta, salad, chicken wings, and everything else on the Sicily's menu.
When I buy a pizza, can I have wings at half price?
Yes.
Can I save 50% off pasta if I buy a calzone?
Yes, you can save 50% off everything on the menu. If you want a great deal, call Sicily's 333-8000 and ask for the Sicily's BOGO special. 50% off everything on the menu. That's 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Discounted item must be of equal or lesser value. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
You're on with Fagan. BNT 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
All right, 7:47 in the morning. Good morning to you. Dan Fagan here. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. We're talking to David Boyle, who was with the Alaska Policy Forum. In particular, this task force that was set up by the legislature. The what is it called, David?
It's the House Sustainable Education Task Force.
And they just met last week, and basically they're saying we got to change our ways. Is that the gist of what they've...
Right. Their last meeting was December 29th, and they're going to come out with a final report. And here, their focus and charter was because the Alaska Constitution mandates education a core mission of state government. They decided that we need to have a new way of thinking in order to ensure that we have long-term financial sustainability of education. So it's like we need to fund education. We have to look at what we're doing, and maybe we have to change things to make sure it's sustainable. The members of that task force, by the way, were Representatives Lynn Gaddis, Tammy Wilson as co-chairs, and then Charisse Millett.
Yeah.
Millett. And David Neese, they had the community members, David Neese, Jerry Covey, who has a great education background, and of course David Neese is a former 28-year teacher with the Anchorage School District.
Yes.
Brad Keithley, Andy Baker from the Bush, and a small business person, and Andrew Halcrow representing the business community. So they actually had some really good talent on there.
Was there anybody representing the union?
Not per se.
Okay.
No, there was not, which I thought was very refreshing. And there was nobody, let's say, representing the education industry. If you know what I mean.
Now I know there's a counter to this group, and I don't remember the name. What's the name of that group? The
Great Alaska Schools Group.
Yeah, that's right. And
more money.
That's right. Now they came out a couple of days ago and said that they don't want more money because of the current fiscal situation, but they want to maintain where we are. Is that accurate?
I haven't seen that per se, but they wanted a lot more money during the last legislative session. And by the way, they have registered with APOC as an independent expenditure group now because they endorse candidates.
Right.
I would think they would put their focus on increasing student achievement versus just keeping money or spending more money. By the way, one of the charter members of that, let's say the predecessor to that group, was Jeff Friedman, former member of our Anchorage School Board.
Yeah.
And they may be well-intentioned. I don't agree with their tactics and strategy as far as getting to where we need to go to improve education for all our kids. They just want to throw more money at it.
The amount of money we spend on education on the state level, has there, in the last 10 years, ever been any cutting?
No, absolutely not. No. As a matter of fact, it's interesting if you look at spending on education. There was a tremendous bump in, I believe, fiscal year 2006 to 8. It just ramped way up, and I think it's because of ACES brought in all of this extra money, from the oil industry.
Right.
And Sarah Palin was the governor at that time, and it was like, wow, we got all this money, let's just spend it. So they did.
Yeah.
And that's what, I think we can really take advantage of this lowering of oil prices and the drop in revenue stream because of that. Now we can actually have fiscal discipline imposed upon our governor, our legislators, our school boards, and all other officials.
You don't remember what percentage increase it was with the Palin ACES?
No, I don't.
Pretty significant. And we've been going up every year since, right?
Oh, it's been going up every year. For example, when we talk about this foundation farm, it's very complicated. There's all these different pieces that add on and build up and build up.
Right.
But if we talk about the base student allocation, which a lot of people understand, that's they call it the basic need. In 2013 to 14, it was $1,411 million.
That's what we spend on what?
That's a per student funding on education, K-12 education.
$1 billion. Well, it's not $1 billion per student, but it's $1 billion.
No, $1 billion total.
Total. So what does that come out to per student statewide?
Well, it comes out to about 11 million or something like that. But that's not all. There's a whole
per
lot of
student.
About 11 million. I'm sorry, 11,000.
11,000.
Right. The next fiscal year, the one we're in right now, that went up to $1,451 million. So it was an increase of $41 million.
So we spend more than $1 billion on education in Alaska.
Almost $1.5 billion. That's the basic need now, Dan.
So there's much more.
There's much more. There's transportation.
Everything. What's the cost with everything?
Well, I saw a presentation not this session, the previous session, from Legislative Finance, where it was about $2.1 billion.
Per year.
Per year.
To educate kids in the public school system in Alaska. How much of that does the Fed kick in?
The Fed kicks in, hold on just a second here.
Approximately.
Now, hold on. I have that here in a column here, a spreadsheet. The Feds kick in. Federal. Oh no, I just have federal impact aid. Is $105 million.
So that'll kick in much.
No, they don't.
So was it $2.5 billion? You said.
2.1 billion.
2.1 billion. Now, how many people do we have who are students in public education in Alaska?
A little over 128,000.
128,000 costs $2.1 billion to educate?
Well, we have to get them to school, and we have to have our free lunches, and we have to have our big Taj Mahal buildings, and we have all those. Now in Anchorage School District, which your listeners may really be interested in too, is their audited financial report, CAFR, that came out about 3 months ago. The per student spending went up another $400 per student to $17,600. $17,600 per student in Anchorage. That does not include another $1,700 per student in capital cost. So you're up. Go ahead.
Oh, so it's more than $2.1 billion.
No.
Okay.
I've drilled down to
I
Anchorage.
got you. And what? How many kids in the public education system?
About over 128,000. And in Anchorage, it's about I think it's under 48,000 now. So in Anchorage, we're spending about We're spending over $19,000 per student. By the time you roll in the principal and interest for those buildings they're educated in.
So $2.1 billion divided by 128,000 is $16,406.25.
Yeah, and that doesn't sound right to me because I know it's more than that.
It is. Now, I thought in Anchorage it was 17,000.
Well, it was. It's gone up. Hold on just a minute. Let me get my head straight here. It is a little over 17,000.
And then nationally, it's what, about 9 or 10,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Total spending per student, and that's regardless. Of course, in some states it's lower. In some of the really good education systems like Massachusetts and all, it's around 10 to 11,000.
Yeah. So,
but here in Anchorage, it's $17,600.
Is it possible the state would be lower than Anchorage?
Some districts are.
Yeah, but I would think out in rural Alaska it's much higher.
It's much higher, but you have 5 major districts.
Yeah.
And now in the Kenai it's lower, the Mat-Su it's lower.
Okay.
And the Fairbanks it's lower, so they kind of offset the increases. Don't ask me why it's higher in Anchorage. It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's because of our. I mean, come on, we got the left completely controls the school board. I mean, it's a complete opposite of the Valley with Dr. Dina Paramo. You know. She takes a completely different approach to education than we do here in Anchorage.
She really does. She loves charter schools. She likes alternative schools.
Loves choice.
Yep. Pretty much loves choice. So she's for what's the best fit for the children. And in Anchorage, we have carryovers, I think, from the previous superintendent as such. Here's another one that should interest your listeners out there. We know there's the school district always touts their school bonds, which, by the way, there's $59 million going to be on the April ballot for Anchorage.
Wow.
To renew and build schools. The total, they're talking about reducing debt reimbursement, and that's how you know the Anchorage School District sells their bonds. Oh, the state's going to pay 70%. Well, guess what? Right now, the state this year. The total debt reimbursement for the school districts, they paid $126 million in principal and interest.
Wow.
And even more alarming is the fact that we almost have $1.2 billion in outstanding bonds, school bonds throughout the state.
Yeah.
Principal and interest. So I guess what I'm saying is with the collapse of the oil prices, they're going to be cutting stuff. So that debt reimbursement may be cut way down and may go away in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And that will come on the shoulders, for example, of the Anchorage taxpayers.
Wow.
And
David, unfortunately, we're out of time. David Boyle with the Alaska Policy Forum. $2.1 billion we spend a year educating 128,000 kids.
That's correct.
Amazing.
When you roll all the cost factors in.
David, I appreciate your time, and enjoy that mint julep by the pool in South Carolina.
I'll be thinking of you.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. That's David Boyle with the Alaska Policy Forum. Go to their website. Google them. Amazing amount of information. We'll take phone calls when you get back. 569-1080. 569-1080. It's 7:58. Dan Fagan. 569-1080. It's 7:58. Dan Fagan.
Make your dollar stretch.
And better than ever, this fun and interactive ice carving competition starts Friday, January 9th at 9 a.m. to Sunday, January 11th at 4 p.m. Come to this free downtown event to watch ice carvers from around the world carve blocks of ice into whimsical sculptures in Town Square Park. The sculptures will be on display through the end of February. Returning this year to the Crystal Gallery, Walk of Ice. Tour downtown and visit various ice sculptures in front of downtown businesses. For information and to see where the sculpture is located downtown, visit AnchorageDowntown.org. The Crystal Gallery of Ice is an Anchorage Downtown Partnership production and is brought to you by Alaska Medical Contractors Association, Anchorage Guest House Inn, Linden Transport, United Rentals, MOA Parks and Rec, Alsco, Diamond Parking, Williams Scotsman, the Alaska Railroad, Easy Park, and Alaska Integrated Media.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN Anchorage, AM 1080, and reach Translated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Radio's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The first order of business in the House, electing a speaker. And even with a larger GOP majority, John Boehner is facing a challenge from his right flank.
The American people spoke loud and clear in November that they're tired of the status quo.
Florida Republican Ted Yoho and Texas Republican Louis Gohmert both positioning themselves as conservative alternatives. Still, it's unlikely Boehner loses his bid for a third term as Speaker. Far less drama expected in the Senate. Already leaders out with their very first piece of legislation to hit the floor, a bill authorizing construction of the Keystone Oil Pipeline. Lisa.
Meantime, Jared's Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid will not be on the Hill today. His office just out with a statement saying he'll work from home in D.C. on doctor's orders to keep healing from the broken bones and concussion he suffered in an exercise accident at his Nevada home. Jeb Bush is now raising money for his possible presidential run. Fox Radio's Evan Brown is live in Miami.
Well, Lisa, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, son and brother to both Presidents Bush and also a Republican, now has a political action committee, or PAC. It's named Right to Rise,
which is a PAC to support candidates that believe in conservative principles to allow all Americans to rise up.
Bush speaking on a video he tweeted earlier. The PAC is not necessarily a campaign organization, but is capable of raising money, as in millions, for political causes. And a Jeb Bush fundraising effort could be going after the prized high-dollar GOP donors. Lisa?
And then former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, facing sentencing today for corruption, may not face as much time behind bars. The judge has just lowered the range from about 6.5 years to 8 years, but the hearing continues. Wall Street now in a sell-off again. The Dow's down more than 150 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. But with the PMI Advantage from Quicken Loans, you may never have to pay those expensive monthly mortgage insurance premiums again. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I'm excited to tell you that the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. Make the smart call and talk to one of our home loan experts today at 800-QUICKEN. You'll learn how the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And this year, for the first time, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Quotes for cost information. Equal housing lender licensed law 50 states and Russ number 3030.
Mexico's president in the Oval Office meeting with President Obama on his executive immigration actions, deferring deportation for about 4 million illegal.
Make your dollars stretch with Sicily's first ever BOGO special. Buy one, get one half price. Save 50% off pizza, calzone, pasta, salad, chicken wings, and everything else on the Sicily's menu.
When I buy a pizza, can I have wings at half price?
Yes.
Can I save 50% off pasta if I buy a calzone?
Yes, you can save 50% off everything on the menu. If you want a great deal, call Sicily's 333-8000 and ask for the Sicily's BOGO special. 50% off everything on the menu. That's 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Discounted item must be of equal or lesser value. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
With a Sam's Club membership, you get incredible savings every time you shop. For a limited time, Sam's Club members get a savings book with more than $3,000 in extra savings. Get prepped for a party with popular Game Time favorites that will please any size crowd, like Tyson Buffalo Wings, Pepsi, Hefty Supreme Paper Plates, and DiGiorno's Pizza. Go to samsclub.com to check out the full selection of instant savings offers. Join and save. Sam's Club. Life is better when you're in the club. See club for details.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080.
Six minutes past 8 o'clock, Tuesday morning, January 6th. It's cold, 1 degrees. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. We're streaming live on danfagan.us, broadcasting on FM 95.1. That's the best way to get us in Anchorage on KOAN. Also 1080 AM in Anchorage. And then out in the valley, we're on 95.2 FM or 1020 AM. The telephone number, love to hear from you, 569-1080. 569-1080. Talking to David Boyle with the Alaska Policy Forum made us aware of the fact that the state currently spends $2.1 billion educating 128,000 students. $2.1 billion educating 128,000 students. Of that $2.1 billion, the federal government kicks in about $120 million. That's a lot of money. And the reason that we spend so much, which is almost $17,000 per student, which is not quite twice the national average, but it's about 60% above the national average, is because we have a political system that demonizes those who want to bring sensibility to education spending. I tell the story 1,000 times. I just love it. When I was writing my column for the Anchorage Daily News, I used to sit there for hours and write that thing because I just love to write. I like to write, rewrite. And I spent an entire afternoon, and I had that 98.1, that musical station on the classical music. It's soothing, and I had that on in the background as I wrote. And every single commercial break, there was a commercial about how Sharice Millett was anti-education. State Representative Sharice Millett, because she wanted to bring some sensibility to spending on education. And the teachers union literally ran a commercial every break going after her. So when you have the teachers union, which is able to extort money legally from all teachers in the state, most teachers in the state, and then take that extortion money legally and target legislators who won't spend on education. It creates a dynamic where that if you are a legislator, and if, like Sharice Millett, you have the courage to demand some accountability for the $2.1 billion that we spend on education, you can expect an onslaught of attacks like you've never seen before. Because the teachers union has one answer. One answer to how do we improve education. And the answer is more money. And that's the answer every time. It's the only answer. There is no other way. We need more money. Our teachers need to be paid more. We need nicer schools. We need more free lunches. If our kids are hungry, they can't be educated. Everybody gets a free lunch, breakfast, or dinner now in some of these schools. And if you if you say that, well, okay, we'll give you money, but you've got to have results. If you say that, then you hate kids. And you're anti-education. And that's the way you'll be painted by the teachers union. And they have the cash to paint you that way because they're allowed to legally extort money from teachers in the state. If you want to be a teacher in the Anchorage School District, you must give cash to the union. You have no choice. That's extortion. Now, it's legal, but it's extortion. Forcing me to give an organization that's political cash just to have a job is extortion. And that's why, for any state to have a real chance of prosperity, it has to become a right-to-work state. We have to cut off the extortion that unions practice legally on a daily basis. And this extortion has led us to spending $2.1 billion educating 128,000 kids. Now, obviously, you take a school like Holy Rosary Academy or any of the private schools in town, it's nowhere close to that kind of spending per student. 17,000, 16,000 per student. It's not even close. So, what does it come down to? Courage. It comes down to the Representative Millett and other lawmakers who say, you know what? Paint me anti-education. Paint me anti-kid. I don't care. We can't just keep throwing money at the problem. And oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, our schools are miserable failures. Our standards are some of the lowest in the nation, and we're not even meeting those. This is a true statement, and it is without dispute. Alaska's public schools are a miserable, dismal failure when it comes to results. That is without dispute. There's no arguing that. And yet we're spending 60 to 70% more educating our kids than the rest of the nation. Oh, and don't expect to read any of this in the Anchorage Dispatch, whatever it is called today. Don't expect any of the TV stations to report this. When you look at the percentage of Alaska Native children who never graduate, it's shameful. The numbers, I forget what it is. It's a ridiculous number. I don't even remember. It's been at least 3 or 4 years since I've checked, but it'll terrify you. And yet $2.1 billion. 2.1. We're one of the least populated states in the country. $2.1 billion? And what's the new answer? What's the way out of this? Well, we need more. We need 2.5 billion. Maybe 3 billion. But if you can't educate the kids adequately with 2.1 billion, why would we give you another penny? Seems like you spend $2.1 billion on anything. You ought to get some kind of results. 569-1080. 569-1080. It's Dan Fagan. 8:14 is the time. 80. 569-1080. It's Dan Fagan. 8:14 is the time.
Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford. With new models pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go.
And because we've got to make room, you can save a lot of money on your next car, truck, or SUV.
Choose from over 1,000 vehicles for just $95 down.
And if you're looking for low payments, we can help with that too.
Don't forget, we have our own finance company. We can finance anyone we want to. Here's a Ford Fusion, just $14,900.
That's all-wheel drive.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $12,900.
And that's a 4x4. And test drive this Jeep Liberty 4x4. It's just $15,900. And a Kia Sportage 4x4 for $16,900.
With the 2015s pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go. It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford.
2012 Fusion Q1966, 2010 Escape Q1693, 2012 Liberty Q1910, 2012 Sportage Q2359. Unapproved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Ends 1/8/2015.
From our police and firefighters to our first-line responders, from our schools to our hospitals, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries is here for you. Please be here for us by donating part of your PFD when it matters. Pick, click, give for Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries today.
When you pick, click, give with the Alaska Zoo in mind, you're picking Alaskan animals that have been injured or orphaned in the wild and now have a second chance at life. You're clicking for education for students near and far, and you're giving to everyone who visits and is awed by polar bears swimming and wolves howling.
Pick, click, give is here. It's your chance to start something big. Big Brothers Big Sisters helps children realize their potential and build great futures. We put children on the path to success, strengthening our communities, and we couldn't do any of it without you. Please support Big Brothers Big Sisters today and pick, click, give.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 KOAN.
Well, good morning, 8:17. Temperature outside, 0. This is not below 0. Dan Fagan here, broadcasting to you on KOAN, KVNT, streaming on danfagan.us. Our number, 569-1080, 569-1080. And we are streaming on danfagan.us. Our good friend Mike Daniels, Country Financial, very wise fella. He's got a team. He's assembled a team of country representatives that are so knowledgeable, so wise when it comes to financial matters. They're going to ask you the right questions, make sure you're adequately insured. You know, you can keep building your nest egg for the next generation and for your retirement. And if you don't have enough insurance, you know, one wrong step, one accident, and you could lose everything. So it's important that you have enough insurance. And Mike Daniels and his team at Country Financial, they will make sure that you do. They are absolutely the best in the state when it comes to financial planning. There are 13 locations, 13 Country Financial locations in Alaska. So go see a country representative. You'll be thrilled you did, I promise you. Here's their number to set up an appointment. 866-COUNTRY. They have 5 locations in the Valley, 5 in Anchorage. Again, Country Financial, 866-COUNTRY. Give them a call. Our telephone number, 569-1080, 569-1080. Give us a call. Love to hear from you. Alaska Marijuana Delivery Service is open for business. At least one marijuana delivery service is openly selling pot in South Central Alaska, more than a month before the ballot initiative that legalized pot goes into effect. It's out in the valley. Technically, we are acting, but look forward to being legal soon, reads the website of Discreet Deliveries, which offers to drop off up to an ounce of marijuana to paying customers in Anchorage and the Valley. Discreet Deliveries, owner Rocky Burns, he's 37. seems to be taking the risk in stride. If I was all worried, I wouldn't have started, Burns said. But state agencies on Monday warned that such a cavalier approach is dangerous. Here's what Cynthia Franklin, director of Alcohol, Beverage, and Control Board, said. She says what he's doing is not legal. He could be criminally prosecuted. Police chief in Anchorage agreed, Mark Mew. He said people who jump the gun on this issue do so at their own risk. We can never give permission to break the law. The marijuana laws in Alaska have not changed yet. People who break the current laws are subject to prosecution. Come February 24th, recreational marijuana use will be legal. That day, people will be able to process and transport up to an ounce of marijuana under the language of Ballot Measure 2, the initiative that legalized marijuana. But marijuana businesses won't be legally able to operate until 2016. That's confusing to me. I don't even know what an ounce is. I don't know. You know, how much do you need? How much pot do you need? Is it like a 6-pack? I have no idea. I don't plan on finding out. I told you I smoked pot once, but I didn't think it was pot. I thought it was crack. So technically, I've never tried to smoke pot. I don't know, folks. I just, look, freedom is important. I agree. Freedom is, if you're not going to hurt anybody else, whatever. But I think we also have to come together as a society, as a culture, and say, is this good for the culture? Is this better for our kids? Will it produce good things in our society? And, marijuana is so powerful today, from what I understand. It's not the marijuana that those of us in our 40s and 50s would have smoked when we were teenagers. And it really does have a dramatic impact on your brain and the cells in your brain. And some people, frankly, don't already have a lot going for them in that department anyway. So, why would you want to kill more brain cells? I don't know. Look, but one thing that I know is what I've seen. The one thing that I know is what I've seen. 569-1080, 569-1080. Every person that I knew of, that I worked with, that smoked pot, smoked it every day, was their life. And all they did was hang out with other pot smokers because it was their lives too. Now, I've never really had any close friends that I'm aware of that smoke pot. Because most people who smoke pot do it every day. My experience now, I'm reporting what I've seen and experienced. I don't know the data on this. I don't know the research on this. This is a 54-year-old man telling you what he has witnessed in his life. And what I've witnessed working for TV stations and radio stations and all the stuff that I've done in my life occupationally, I can tell you that those who worked in the same company that I worked for, who smoked pot, smoked it every day. It was what they did. It was their life. It's what got them going. And that's my personal experience. I'm not saying that's the case with every person who smokes pot. There may be people who just smoke it on the weekend. There may be people who smoke it twice a month. I have no idea. But I'm telling you, I've never seen anybody and of course, you don't know. You don't know what's going on in people's personal lives. But I've never known anybody who just smoked pot once a month or once every couple of weeks. They could have, and I just didn't know it. But I find that it's a heavily addictive substance. And, the whole pot people, it's not as bad as alcohol. Well, it may be true. It very well may be true that alcohol has caused much more harm in our culture than pot has. But I think that's probably because alcohol is used much more widely than pot does, and pot has. And that's probably why more people have lost marriages and jobs because of alcohol. And, of course, the DUI problem and all that stuff. People have been killed. It's terrible. The real question is why as a culture in a time in history where we've never had it easier, we've never had it better, we've never been wealthier, we've never had more access to more conveniences than we do now. Why is it that now more than ever we medicate ourselves more than ever? I think it's pretty obvious that material possessions, comforts of life, does not make a person happy, does not give a person peace, does not satisfy. Sometimes I think if we went back to a time where we didn't have 75 channels on TV, where we had to go out in the backyard and go to a well and fill up a bucket to drink water, we rode donkeys to work, we had to grow our own food, kill our own cows. I wonder how, wouldn't you love to go back in time to live when we were more connected to this earth and we were more connected? You know, you just walk into a grocery store and pick up the finest piece of salmon you'd ever eat. Well, there was a day where you had to go catch that. How different would life be for the soul, the inner person? I don't think easiness of life is the answer to a happy life and a peaceful life and a satisfied life. Sacrifice and pain often produce great results in us. Hard work, having callous hands. I think there are dividends that come from that lifestyle that we don't even come close to experiencing anymore. And we've got it so easy. And yet we're so empty. And I understand there are a lot of broken hearts out there, a lot of broken people, a lot of people who they've been hurt, they've taken risks, they've loved, and they were rejected, and now they're literally broken inside. And they cannot function without some kind of medication, whether it's overeating, as I raise my hand, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pornography, whether it's marijuana, whether it's being a workaholic, whether it's being addicted to some kind of extreme sport, whatever. And you say, what's the answer? Well, I suppose that's something each and every one of us have to determine on their own. I know that there are times in my life where I have perfect peace and I am as satisfied and content and happy as I could be. And it's a beautiful thing. And then there are also times in my life when I'm lonely, I'm depressed, I'm sad. And it really depends, in my opinion, not in my opinion, my experience is that whether I'm in perfect peace and joy and content, or whether I'm sad, lonely, and depressed, really comes down to one basic fundamental factor, and it is, what do I focus on? Do I have a heart of gratitude? Do I focus on the good things? Do I focus on the fact that I am loved ferociously by my Creator? Or do I focus on the things that I wish were better in my life? And that really determines my attitude and my peace and my joy. The good news is we can control it. It's just really what you focus on. But when you medicate yourself, everyone knows this. I'm not telling anybody anything new. Your problems are still there. It's just they're delayed. It's a temporary reprieve. 569-1080, 569-1080. It's 829.
You sit there, give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes.
Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. One of the defendants from the case involving the brutal beating of a young man left in an abandoned house slated for demolition in 2013 has now heard his sentence. Michael Leofau will spend 4 years in prison for the attack on 18-year-old James Clinton, who was rescued after university police found an anonymous note under their door letting them know Clinton was unconscious in the basement. Kazan Kenda reports marijuana activist Charlo Green facing possible eviction from her downtown Anchorage business.
Green is in a dispute with her landlord at the cannabis club she plans to open in the former Kodiak bar on East 5th Street, and is also involved in various legal disputes with neighboring businesses that involve filing restraining orders on each other. You may remember Green from her job as a KTVA reporter, which she famously quit on live TV with an expletive during a report about marijuana. It was one of the most popular video clips of 2014 on Facebook.
That's your Hot Talk News update.
Since freezing fog this morning, otherwise clouds and sun for today with a high of 8 and a mainly clear and cold night, low 4, below 0. Partial sunshine tomorrow with a high 13 and partly cloudy skies at night with a low of 8, but temperatures will rise into the middle teens overnight. Then some sun, but turning cloudy Thursday, high 31. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Would you rather make your own way or spend your life saying, what if? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or go to peacecorps.gov.
They all increase your chances of developing a blood clot. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. Sitting for a long stretch of time, especially if you're tall or overweight, can cause a life-threatening condition known as deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. One study finds the risk goes up by 18% for every 2 hours of sitting. Now, one tip I've learned while traveling is to rotate your ankles in a circular motion while sitting in your seat. That can help keep the blood flowing. Getting up and walking around is even better. Women who are pregnant or in postpartum recovery have higher risk of blood clots and need to be closely monitored. Also, make sure you're getting enough vitamin D in your diet. According to a study published in the International Journal of General Medicine, people who experience blood clots often had significantly lower levels of vitamin D in their bodies. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
If you have Medicare Part D, Walgreens can put you at the corner of switching your prescriptions and saving some money. That's because Walgreens makes it easy to switch and save with copays as low as $0 on select Medicare Part D plans. Just bring us your prescriptions and we'll do the rest. Switch to save even more today. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Applies to Tier 1 generics for select plans.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. The Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender license law 50 states and MLS number 3030.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209. Here's my good friend, Keith Montronac.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
It's 8:36 in the morning. Dan Fagan here, broadcasting to you on KVNT in the Valley, KOAN in Anchorage. We're streaming live on the internet, both video and audio. DanFagan.us is how you get us there. DanFagan.us. Our friends over at Earhart Roofing, they're the very best roofing company in the state of Alaska. They've got a huge operation now. You know, they started from scratch, and now they've got 17 trucks, 60 employees, 4 decades plus in business. Frank and Becky Earhart, their son James, they're the very best. They're always the lowest bidder, and they are going to give you, with your new roof, a 50-year warranty. Whether it's industrial, commercial, residential, they're always going to go above and beyond. You will be satisfied. They are Better Business Bureau Business of the Year. They can install a roof for you within 2 days at Earhart Roofing. If you need any kind of roofing work, give them a call. Here's their number, 345-5555, 345-5555, Earhart Roofing. I grow very weary and frustrated with the conspiracy theorists, especially on the right. I was listening to a radio show the other day, and Joe Miller's campaign guy was on there talking about how that Dan Sullivan was installed by World Bank leaders and Karl Rove, you know, and all this conspiracy stuff. I just grow very weary of it. I like to report what I know. It's so easy to get paranoid as a conservative. But the truth is, on the other side of the spectrum, when you see things like what happened to Cheryl Atkinson, where her computer was hacked by the government, and the mainstream media ignores it, then you start to think, well, wait a minute. If the media is going to ignore these stories, maybe some of this stuff's true. You know, the IRS scandal, the media ignores that. The Benghazi, the Fast and Furious, all these things that, had they been done by a Republican, would have been scandals that we'd all be talking about and reading about on a daily basis. So the mainstream media's refusal to cover stories that are legitimate scandals does give rise to the conspiracy theory movement within the conservative movement. Now, a story that you're not going to see in the mainstream media, Fox News is reporting it, that Cheryl Atkinson has sued the Justice Department over the hacking of her computers. She's accusing the Obama administration of illegal surveillance while she was reporting on administration scandals. In a series of legal filings that seek $35 million in damages, Atkinson alleges that 3 separate computer forensic exams showed that hackers used sophisticated methods to monitor her work between 2011 and 2013. Cheryl Atkinson, mind you, is the only mainstream reporter who cared to cover the Obama administration. The rest of her colleagues in the mainstream media drooled over the man. So the Obama administration decided, well, we'll just illegally monitor and spy on her because she's our only adversary in the mainstream media. It's unbelievably scandalous. Here's what Atkinson says. I just think it's important to send a message that people shouldn't be victimized and throw up their hands and think there's nothing they can do and they're powerless. The department has steadfastly denied any involvement in the hacking, saying in a 2013 statement, to our knowledge, the Justice Department has never compromised Ms. Atkinson's computers or otherwise sought any information from or concerning any telephone, computer, or any media device she may own or use. In the lawsuit and related claims against the post office filed in Washington, Atkinson says the intruders installed and periodically refreshed software to steal data and to obtain passwords on her home and work computers. She also charges that the hackers monitored her audio using a Skype account. Can you imagine? The award-winning reporter says she and her attorneys have pretty good evidence that these efforts were connected to the Justice Department. She said she was caught in a catch-22, forcing her to use the lawsuit and an administrative complaint to discover more about the surveillance through the discovery process and to learn the identities of John Does named in the complaints. The Justice Department has not been very forthcoming with questions, she said. The question is, will anyone ever be held responsible? This administration, Eric Holder, Barack Obama, make Richard Nixon look like a Boy Scout. These two men are the most corrupt president we've ever had and the most corrupt attorney general we've had. There is no dispute. Atkinson resigned from CBS last March after complaining that she was increasingly unable to get her investigative stories on the air. She has published a best-selling book, Stonewalled, about her battles against the network and the administration as she investigated stories on such subjects as Benghazi, Fast and Furious, and Obamacare. What the media does, remember what I said earlier in the show, that leftists, whenever they try to help somebody, they always end up hurting them because they're always 180 degrees away from what's true. Whatever's true, they take the complete opposite view because their worldview starts in a wrong place. And so everything that they look at is upside down wrong. What the media doesn't understand is they literally drool over this president. They may think they're helping him by refusing to cover him. But if anything, it will be his undoing because it emboldens him. One scandal after another. It's like when Sarah Palin used to go on the Bob and Mark show. That was when she was at her worst because they would just drool over her. And she would say the stupidest things because she had no fear. She had no accountability in place. And that's what the media does by drooling over this president. It emboldens him to be more and more scandalous. And one of these scandals will eventually catch up to him. They have to. So again, the leftist media tried to help Mr. Obama. If they would have just simply done his job, he probably would have not participated in 70% of the scandals that he did. But he participated in them knowing the media had his back. And I would say to you, Mr. Bill Walker, and I'm not saying you're a corrupt man at all, I'm not saying that. But the Alaska Dispatch News, which drives the media coverage, which the TV stations follow, will be your best friend. Do not let that embolden you to cut corners, be dishonest, and participate in scandalous behavior. Do the right thing. 844. Do the right thing. 844.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
The traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. To your authorized dealer and see the world differently in a C-Class from Mercedes-Benz. Get the 2015 C300 4MATIC starting at just $40,400. Test drive one today.
MSRP for 2015 C300 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Okay, admit it. You screwed up big time. You had a couple of beers after work, took one with you in the car. You could have taken a cab, but no. You did just about everything wrong you could do. You spent a night in jail before you got bailed out. And now you stand to lose it all. Your car, your license, your insurance, maybe your job. Brother, you are in trouble. You know, you made a lot of bad decisions so far, so it's time you make a good one. Get on the phone right now and call attorney Josh Fink, 274-0493. No, you can't put it off. You still have a few rights left, and Josh will help you protect them. You are going to need them. You want to make things worse? I didn't think so. Call attorney Josh Fink, 274-0493. There's no excuse for what you did, and you need the best defense possible. So do it now. Attorney Josh Fink, 274-0493. Get the defense you need.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
All right, 847. Dan Fagan here on KOAN, KBNT. Call us 569-1080. Streaming live, danfagan.us. Old Bill Clinton, bless his heart. You know, I kind of like him. We know he's a scoundrel. We know he's a man of low character. Or, you know, he just doesn't understand the concept of being faithful to your wife. That's just his deal. And, you know, he's married to Hillary, so, you know, whatever. Now he's identified in this lawsuit this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, who's been charged as a pedophile and who had regular orgies at his Caribbean island. This guy owns his own island. That the president visited multiple times. According to the Daily Mail, former President Bill Clinton was friends with Epstein, who was arrested in 2008 for soliciting underage prostitutes. A new lawsuit reveals how Clinton was a regular and took many trips to Epstein's private island, where Epstein kept young women as sex slaves. Clinton is also tied very closely to a woman who collected naked pictures of underage girls for Epstein to choose from. And Mr. Clinton has continued his ties with this woman, even inviting her to his daughter's wedding recently. New lawsuit has revealed the extent of former President Clinton's friendship with a fundraiser who later was jailed for having sex with an underage prostitute. Clinton was in relationship with him for his illegal, he was serving time, Mr. Epstein was, for his illegal sexual partners, including up to multiple trips at the one-time billionaire's private island in the Caribbean, where underage girls were allegedly kept as sex slaves. tales of orgies and young girls being shipped to the island where Clinton was a regular visitor have been revealed as a part of an ongoing lawsuit between Epstein and his former lawyers. It's unclear what the basis of the suit is, but they go on to call witness testimony from some of the frequent guests at Epstein's island to talk about the wild orgies that were held there in the early 2000s. Flight logs pinpoint Clinton's trip on Epstein's jet between 2002 and 2005 while he was working on his philanthropic post-presidential career and while his wife was senator in New York. I remember asking Jeffrey, what's Bill Clinton doing here all the time? And he laughed it off and said, well, he owes me a favor, one identified woman said in the lawsuit, which is filed in the Palm Beach Circuit Court. The woman went on to say how orgies were a regular occurrence and how she recalled two young girls from New York who were always seen around the five-house compound, but their personal backstories were never revealed. At least one woman at the compound was there unwillingly, the suit alleges. She was forced to live as one of Epstein's underage sex slaves for years and was forced to have sex with politicians, businessmen, royalty, the lawsuit said. Epstein's sexual exploits have been documented when a woman in Palm Beach contacted police saying that her 14-year-old daughter had been paid $300 to massage him and then have sex. The claim prompted a nearly year-long investigation that led to the eventual charge of soliciting prostitution, which came as a part of a plea deal. He spent 13 months in jail, Epstein did, and is currently a registered sex offender. Several of the famous guests at this island, other than Bill Clinton, former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer, who of course you'll remember was arrested in a prostitution ring. Clinton's connection to Epstein, who worked as a financier and education philanthropist before more than 40 women came forward with claims about him being a sexual predator, has long been established. But the lawsuit alleges the former president was also friends with some of Epstein's seedy acquaintances. Would it shock you to believe that Bill Clinton attended orgies on a regular basis at a private island? Frankly, it would shock me if it's not true. Of course, what's this going to mean to Hillary? I don't know. I don't know if people hold Bill's loose morals against him, against Hillary. They probably just feel sorry for her. I don't know why they stay together. I don't know. I don't understand. I suppose she thinks it probably enhances her chances. It's just such a sad situation. And I kind of like Hillary. I know I actually thought, when it looked like it might have been John McCain versus Hillary, I thought, what's the difference? Might as well go with Hillary. Because McCain, he didn't want Anwar open. He was a pretty left-wing guy. When you elect a left-wing Republican, you hurt the party for years. Nixon was a disastrous president. Took us off the gold standard. Jerry Ford wasn't much better. And when you put a left-wing Republican president in there, which I think McCain would have been, and frankly I think Romney probably would have been. So, let's just put Hillary in there, and if she messes the country up, at least it won't hurt the conservative movement. I wonder, you wonder. Bill Clinton's been accused of rape. He's been accused of groping. obviously, multiple women have said they've had sex with him. Now this guy, this lawsuit comes out, and apparently he's going to orgies. I suppose it's not illegal unless there are underage women there, which apparently there were. You think of a guy like Bill Clinton who's so talented and so gifted, such a great communicator. I'm not judging him. Look, you look at people, there's been great men throughout history who have had dalliances with women that weren't their wives, who did a lot of good for the country and the globe, frankly. And Martin Luther King had many affairs. David in the Bible had an affair. You go through history, there are a lot of people who couldn't control their libido and yet got it together and ended up doing a lot of good for mankind. So I'm not trying to, but it seems like Bill's just got this thing where he just can't keep that zipper up. He likes the ladies. What can I say? I just can't, when I'm around them. I like being around them. You feel bad for him. It's tough. It's humiliating. He's a human. He's listening to this or he rereads this. This will be all over the media, That's the thing, when you, in life, when you make a mess, this often embarrassing. And you just have to live with it. I'm sure Hillary's furious. Underage girls at orgies, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Of course, if this was a Republican, this would be all you'd be hearing about, but it'll still get pressed because, Bill Slick Willie's a colorful character. People like to talk about him. It's funny to me that he's still the most popular Democrat in the nation, even with his literal lack of being able to control himself when it comes to women. He did some good things as president. He signed the Welfare Reform Act, which revolutionized the inner cities in America. It said that you could not be on welfare forever. He was pushed into it by Newt Gingrich and the Republicans, but he did sign it. Of course, Obamacare undid all that. So I can't complain about him as president. He was clearly a centrist. He wasn't a leftist. Appreciate you joining us. We're here every Monday through Friday. KOAN, KVNT. Check out the Dan Fagan Show Facebook page. Like us. We're well over 17,000 likes now. Have a wonderful Tuesday, folks. Stay warm. It's cold out there. See you tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Be sure to catch them every weekday morning from 6 to 9 a.m.